Today, I bring to you some of the most humiliating blunders from MasterChef that'll make you gasp and laugh in disbelief. Just like this time when one contestant cracked under the pressure.
It's an incredible feeling. I'm a country boy from Wilmington, Ohio. So to walk away with the title MasterChef, for me, that's...
Now, remember when Tyler accidentally swapped plates?
Last chiller, I just pulled out the same 4.
So, turns out Tyler was ready to shine. But sadly for him, things took a turn for the worse.
30, top 20, and now the top 16. It's an... I'm a country boy from Wilmington, Ohio.
But wait, what does this mean? Was a home cook caught cheating in the MasterChef kitchen? What a scandal! But was it really cheating or just a mistake? Let's break it down. So what happened is, Tyler was prepping his dish, and honestly, he seemed to be on track.
In there and at least gave it enough time to set nicely.
Okay.
But then, drama hit. Suddenly, everyone was focused on Tyler because he'd served a dish that wasn't his. Can you believe it? He put Jamie's panna cotta in front of the judges, pretending it was his own. Jamie had made 3 perfect panna cottas and put them in the fridge. When she went to grab them, only 2 were left. She was totally confused and upset, trying to figure out what happened to her 3rd panna cotta.
I don't know if somebody took it or on accident or is trying to sabotage.
We had a pretty good idea of who messed up, right? Whether it was an accident or something more intentional, it was a huge mistake on Tyler's part.
Please.
3 blindfolds.
Blindfolds.
I mean, this was a first in the show's history. And to emphasize on it further, Chef Ramsay pointed out it was a big deal and hadn't happened before.
They did not cook.
What do you mean, Chef?
Stay there.
You gotta be kidding me.
Chef Ramsay then went straight to the fridge to check things out. Meanwhile, Tyler was standing there totally lost, not grasping how serious this was.
What do you see on that tray, young man?
My ramekins.
Or ramekins?
Yes, Chef. I put my ramekins on the top shelf, and I don't know if they got switched. I don't know,
Okay.
Chef.
You didn't.
It was super embarrassing for him, and it's not hard to understand why. I mean, getting called out like that in front of everyone? Yikes, not my cup of tea.
Okay, Chef.
You didn't. They're on the bottom shelf, left-hand side.
You put 4 ramekins in the blood.
But rules are rules. The judges couldn't ignore that Tyler had served someone else's dish as his own. They had to talk it over and decide what to do next.
Need a few seconds to catch up. Stay there.
In the end, Tyler was disqualified. It was a tough call, but they had to be fair. Before he left, Tyler shared his regrets and tried to explain himself.
I'm sorry. I had no intent on doing that.
I'm sorry that you grabbed mine.
Hey, at least if...
But this next contestant had their own set of problems to face. In Season 7 of MasterChef, Nathan started off strong, impressing judges and contestants alike with his cooking chops. But things soon took a nosedive.
Nathan and Terry, are you ready to pick your team?
Yes, sir.
Despite his earlier wins, Nathan faced a major challenge that tested his leadership and patience. After snagging a victory in the last challenge, Nathan was given a big role in the next round, which came with its own hurdles. Not everyone was thrilled about him taking charge.
And is definitely a wild card. He's a 20-year-old kid. I'm weary of his leadership qualities.
Some contestants weren't happy with Nathan leading, and that set the stage for the drama ahead. When Nathan was picked to lead the next challenge, it was clear he was in for a tough ride. So, what was the task? To serve 150 wedding guests, a huge job that needed perfect teamwork.
It's just like getting picked for dodgeball in middle school, because no one wanted me then, and it definitely looks like no.
It was obvious that only a few had faith in Nathan as their leader, showing a lack of support from his peers. From the start, things went south for Nathan. His team wasn't following his lead, which led to rising frustration. This became evident when his struggle to get his team on the same page started messing up their performance.
Guys, please stop.
Nathan, don't yell at us. That's like we're
I'm trying to talk and you're talking over.
His frustration mounted as his team seemed more interested in doing their own thing than working together. Maybe Nathan's leadership skills weren't quite there. Eventually, he ended up yelling at everyone to get their attention.
Stop! I'm straining it right now! I need it now!
The blue team is strong.
He was definitely losing his patience.
Style.
Quiet!
Everybody calm. Just
Quiet.
calm.
Perhaps he was just too young and inexperienced for the role, but the shouting kept coming. The team was cooking scallops at their own pace, even before the guests had even arrived.
Nick's not even married yet. We're about to screw the wedding.
Meanwhile, nothing was going according to plan, and the team started to lean on Sean for guidance instead. Nathan's lack of leadership was clear as he resorted to shouting, hoping it would force his team to follow his lead. His frustration was evident as he struggled to manage the situation. The team, however, was too wrapped up in their own tasks to pay much attention. They were prepping food too early, which showed serious issues with coordination and timing.
Sean, I need you to stop.
Nathan, watch out.
Look, come here. Look at me.
Nathan and Sean got tangled up in a serious power struggle. The tension was through the roof as they faced issues that were really pushing Nathan to his limits.
Sean, I need those scallops now. Oh my gosh.
Things took a turn for the worse when they almost served undercooked scallops, adding even more stress to an already tight schedule.
Oh my gosh.
Come on, Nathan!
Let's keep going. Just keep moving.
Table.
Despite the chaos, things eventually started to improve, but it wasn't an overnight fix. The atmosphere stayed tense, keeping everyone on edge. But what happened with the next contestant was absolutely jaw-dropping. There is no doubt that Courtney wowed everyone with her cooking and amazing presentations throughout MasterChef Season 5. But it wasn't all smooth sailing for her. That one episode had everyone on the edge of their seats wondering if Courtney's luck had finally run out or if she had another ace up her sleeve. The drama kicked off when Iran, the winner of the last challenge, got to pick the dish for the pressure test. This was a big deal because the pressure test often means elimination. Aaron's choice could either make or break Courtney. In a twist, he picked a dish that seemed to play right into Courtney's weaknesses. As the challenge began, it was clear Courtney was struggling. Her usual confidence was replaced by panic as she fumbled with the recipe. The judges were watching closely, whispering about her chances of making it through. But Courtney wasn't ready to throw in the towel. With the clock ticking down, she pulled herself together and tackled the challenge with renewed determination.
I think that her lamb looks raw.
Oh, it's medium rare.
Please, Elizabeth, Courtney, and the servers, bring those stunning entrees through to
So, what did she end up with? Drum roll, please.
Lamb with red quinoa and rainbow chard, carrot puree, and a mint yogurt tahini sauce.
Yes, donut, and don't let their simple appearance fool you. Donuts can be surprisingly tricky, as Graham pointed out.
Duck that.
Things took a nosedive when Courtney, despite knowing the importance of yeast in donut making, made a rookie mistake. She told everyone to grab some yeast, which quickly emptied the pantry. You could almost feel the tension rise as everyone realized they were now short on yeast. Whispers spread around with disbelief that she hadn't checked the stock first. As the panic set in, it was clear Courtney's mistake might ruin the entire batch of donuts. The kitchen buzzed with anxiety and frustration, and it looked like a disaster was on the way.
It has the shallots. Everything is really spot on. You know, it looks like it came out of a restaurant.
I'm a bit of a stickler when it comes to cooking duck because it's one of the most difficult proteins to nail.
No eggs in the dough and no yeast left. Talk about a recipe for disaster.
It's matched with fragrance, matched with finesse. Stunning, absolutely stunning.
Thanks, Courtney. Both of you did amazing jobs. A lot to discuss, so.
But wait, it gets worse.
I think that I made some small errors, but I'm still here. Everything on the line for this dessert course for me. I gotta nail it.
Francis, noticing Courtney's trouble, quickly handed her some yeast. You'd think that would fix things, right? Wrong. The big question was, could Courtney turn this donut disaster around and make something tasty? Could she salvage the mess and create a winning dish?
There we go, with the cakes out.
Here's what happened. Courtney, ever determined, got to work. With some creativity and grit, she managed to turn her tough situation into a chance to shine. Even though she started rough, Courtney did eventually whip up a batch of donuts.
Processing it in my mind, I have to say, I think.
But were they perfect? They looked decent, I'll give her that. But when Ramsay took a bite, it was a whole different story.
It's brilliant.
Thank you, sir.
It is really elevating the intellect component of a dessert to another level and making
Yep, he spat it out like it was the worst thing he'd ever tasted.
me not only eat it with my palate and my mouth, also digest it with my brain. It's very intellectually and physically.
Who messes up donuts that badly? A huge mistake. And Chef Ramsay's reaction was something you won't forget.
Thank you, sir.
The patient, obviously, not what you wanted, but the taste is delicious. The pastry cream with the vanilla bean going through it and the salted chocolate, it's like this perfect harmony. Kind of eye-opening.
Next up,
about what we're producing because this is ridiculous.
I'm diving into the episode where contestants had to whip up dishes using passion fruit for a romantic date theme. Personally, I'm not a huge fan of passion fruit. If my date tried serving it to me, they'd be out the door in no time. But hey, you get the idea. Not everyone was as fortunate as I am.
A sweet and savory dish with lamb and fresh fruit, and this is a passion fruit.
Tensions ran high when one chef's dish triggered a surprising flood of emotions. And trust me, it wasn't just a typical "this tastes bad" critique, it stirred up some serious, passionate reactions. Unfortunately, not in a romantic way.
Ginger sauce.
You gotta be kidding. Slim, this is like a buffet gone bad.
Then, things took a dramatic turn when the judges gave their response. Instead of tasting the dishes, they delivered their verdict on the spot. So, what happened next? Hang tight, I'm getting there. And by the way, why am I hearing you ask?
Go back to your station. I'm not tasting this crap. You guys have to, at this point in the competition, need to be listening to what we're telling you about what we're seeing, because this is ridiculous.
I will say, though, that the decision was incredibly controversial. They threw a curveball that left contestants reeling. I definitely didn't see that coming. Talk about cranking up the tension, right?
Fire.
And here comes another dish that sealed another contestant's fate. No passion fruit involved in this one, though. Yes, I'm talking about Whitney Bray from Season 5. So, Whitney's journey kicked off just like many others, with a nerve-wracking audition in front of everyone's favorite tough-as-nails judges. At that point, Whitney was just hoping to impress enough to snag that coveted apron. And guess what? She made it. She landed a spot among the few lucky ones who moved forward in the competition.
$250,000 would give me the opportunity to finish culinary school, to live out.
But as the competition heated up, the challenges got tougher. Whitney soon found herself up against the legendary Mystery Box Challenge.
You have chocolate, banana, strawberries, blueberry.
With only a handful of ingredients to work with, creativity was key. And who stepped up?
Great job. Well done.
Not Whitney, though. Courtney, despite the rhyming names, was the one who clinched the win. They're different people, I promise. Back then, before the show switched to instant eliminations, a change I still can't get over, it was time for a pressure test. And Courtney had a big decision to make.
To tell us who you'd like to save from elimination. So first pick.
I believe that later.
Unfortunately, Whitney didn't make the cut. As the clock ticked down and the pressure mounted, Whitney poured everything she had into her dish, aiming to show off her skills and prove she was a serious contender in the kitchen. But honestly, it just wasn't her day. Whitney's Caribbean meatloaf was a bold choice, but it didn't quite hit the mark.
Some lemongrass, soy, some garlic, ginger, and also I have sweet potato mash and green beans.
Despite her confidence, the judges weren't impressed and quickly found flaws in her dish.
Has the mushrooms going through it and these other things. It doesn't really taste like anything, and I'm getting the sweet potato.
With no other options, Ramsay had to deliver some tough news.
It's way overcooked. It's bland. You know, you brought it up.
And what he said next was just brutal.
Mind, for me, was a TV dinner.
They weren't done yet either.
Taking a TV dinner and turn it into a TV disaster.
And unfortunately, that was the end of her MasterChef journey. With a heavy heart and disappointment, Whitney faced her elimination.
Bench and leave the kitchen.
Her dreams of culinary success ended on a tough note. Still, she left with a renewed drive and a fresh perspective on the challenges ahead. Whitney stayed determined, ready to continue honing her skills and chasing her dreams, no matter how tough the road ahead might be. As MasterChef Season 5 moved on without her, Whitney Bray remained a big inspiration for many, showing that persistence and passion can carry you through even the toughest times. But this next contestant might have had a bit more luck. Let's see if that'll be enough to save him. So, Jeff was in for a serious challenge, and let me tell you, the guy was sweating bullets thanks to Kate and her mystery box win.
That did their family proud.
Kate had the power to mess with everyone's game this time, giving poor Jeff a crazy 20-minute deadline. I mean, imagine the pressure.
Kate wants me to go home. She's going to fail miserably.
But Jeff wasn't one to back down from a challenge. He went all out, whipping up a dish in just 20 minutes that sounded amazing.
With a Mediterranean vibe to it there, a little bit of feta cheese and sun-dried tomato.
Picture this, a salmon fillet with a Mediterranean flair topped with feta cheese and sun-dried tomato relish. Fancy, right? But wait, there's more.
Tell me it's to cook. Just cook the salmon skin side down with an amazing garnish.
It's a possibility too.
He also made an apple and pear cucumber gratin with cranberry and stout beer. Talk about ambitious. But would it survive Chef Ramsay's scrutiny?
It's raw. Are you trying to poison me?
Jeff was confident, but nerves kicked in when Ramsay tasted his dish. Guess what? The salmon was slightly undercooked. Chef Ramsay grilled Jeff about his salmon, looking for that perfect medium rare.
And cranberries and gratined cucumber and raw salmon with don't go. Period.
Thank you.
And Chef Ramsay wasn't holding back. Sugarcoating? Not a chance. No surprise, Chef Ramsay tore into Jeff's rare salmon.
Direct hit, bullseye, Kate, Jeff, everything that I hope he would.
Jeff wasn't about to take Chef Ramsay's criticism quietly. He defended his rare salmon, which was a tough sell. Jeff's excuse about wanting it rare was pretty hard to swallow.
But you're not going to lecture me that that's how you the salmon, because the salmon's raw, Jeff.
Thank you.
Chef Ramsay wasn't buying it. He knew Jeff couldn't have perfectly cooked that salmon in just 20 minutes with everything else going on. And despite being caught, Jeff stuck to his story. But Chef Ramsay wasn't cutting him any slack, even with the time crunch explaining some of the issues.
A little bit of a sauce to it there.
He laid it all out, ripping apart Jeff's dish ingredient by ingredient. Raw salmon? Check. Cucumber? Check. Apple gratin? Check. Feta cheese? Check. But did it all come together? Not even close. So Jeff's attempt to pull a fast one on Chef Ramsay didn't go as planned.
Why'd he serve it raw?
And oh boy, what happened next? Well, let's just say it was pretty embarrassing. But not for Chef Ramsay.
I felt for you, been given 20 minutes. You're not going to lecture me that that's how you wanted to cook the salmon. The salmon's raw, Jeff.
Thank you.
And with that, Jeff's time was up.
I felt that we just can't teach you anymore because you're not prepared to listen.
I can't help but wonder if he could have avoided this mess if he'd just owned up, but we'll never know. Anyway, now let's dive into Season 10. The challenge was on cook for a crowd of former MasterChef contestants and VIP guests in just 1 hour, serving up 3 top-notch dishes. Sarah and Noah, the team captains, earned their spots from last week's skill challenge. Sarah led the red team, aka the Pineapple Squad, while Noah rallied the blue team, or as I like to call them, the Coconut Crew. The judges laid out the menu, giving each team similar dishes to work with. The red team was all about fried chicken drumsticks, beer-battered cod, and a bacon cheeseburger. Meanwhile, the blue team aimed to wow with fried chicken thighs, coconut-crusted cod, and a turkey burger. He tried grilling with the grill turned off.
With urgency.
Yeah, I'm doing that.
Yeah, you gotta move.
Yeah, I'm moving.
What are you doing? So, is that, look, the grill's not on.
Oh.
Yeah, let that sink in for a moment. To add to the mess, Subha was casually wandering around snacking while the challenge was in full swing.
I don't believe it's my fault, but that's not a good thing.
Yes. Hey, big boy.
Katura let him have it for getting in her way, and even Chef Ramsay couldn't resist throwing in a snarky comment.
Guys, our first big challenge.
Big time.
2 amazing teams. Right. There's no easy dish across.
And of course, there was more to the story.
You like dog always in the middle of the road. Get out of there. What are you doing?
I am.
Come here. Hey,
yes,
go
sir.
water my plants. Go water my plants one. And the big palm tree as well. Do something useful.
In the end, Noah's team snagged the win, but the judges called it an ugly win. Can't argue with that. Surprisingly, even with the win, there was no immunity. Instead, the judges called for a nomination for the next elimination challenge. And not shockingly, Noah nominated Subha, which stirred up a bit of drama. Subha argued it wasn't fair, but with everyone, including Chef Ramsay, pointing out how he messed up, it looked like he was in for some serious trouble. I don't get all the hate he gets. Subha might not fit the MasterChef mold, but there was something unique about his culinary journey. What's refreshing about him is his drama-free attitude. He's never been nasty or petty. Instead, he's shown nothing but positivity and support, making him a genuinely nice person to cheer for. Still, his performance in this challenge wasn't exactly stellar. Moving on, who would have thought we'd see a white Italian guy schooling a Lebanese woman on falafel? Well, Joe did just that. During the vegan challenge in season 12, Amanda shared that her Lebanese-influenced cooking was big on vegetarian dishes. Her standout was falafel, a tribute to a recipe passed down from her grandmother.
Mother taught me on making Lebanese. That's what I grew up on, with watermelon red, micro cilantro, and parsley. This challenged me, and I'm really excited, and I hope the judges love.
But along came Joe.
Well,
you're playing a high-risk game here because I have a certain opinion. I'm sure Rowan does, as Gordon does. I know the dish, and I know what it tastes like.
Right, that's true.
So this better be Amanda.
It's not about what he said, but how he said it. That patronizing tone left many viewers feeling outraged, accusing Joe of being full of microaggressions. And honestly, they weren't wrong about that, right? Joe's shown some pretty surprising disdain for non-European dishes, which I've called out before. Like in season 4, when Bethy made Szechuan noodles with wild mushrooms for the Mushroom Elimination Challenge. Graham thought the dish missed the mark because it didn't focus enough on the mushrooms. Ramsay pointed out there was too much sesame oil and the flavor was kind of flat. Fair critiques. But then Joe came in and practically lost his mind over it. Honestly, how dare he?
It's you, it's just everything we want on a plate.
Thanks, Chef.
It reminded me of a hilarious comment someone left on my video about Joe from a while back. And honestly, they're not wrong, right? He's shown some shocking disdain towards non-European cuisine, something I've pointed out pretty frequently. For example, in Season 4, Bethy made a plate of Szechuan noodles with wild mushrooms in the Mushroom Elimination Challenge. Graham said that the dish didn't shine due to its lack of focus on the mushrooms. Meanwhile, Chef Ramsay pointed out an excess of sesame oil and a bit of a one-dimensional flavor. All valid criticisms so far. But then Joe came in and practically flipped the table.
For doing something Asian, I was a little bit surprised, first of all, because I just don't think it's
honestly, how dare he?
Something Eurocentric, either French or Italian or, something much more refined.
But at least it reminded me of this hilarious comment one of you left on the video I did about Joe a while back. Man, Joe's definitely got his own vibe going on, doesn't he? Hope I nailed that one. Anyway, despite the seemingly straightforward nature of Amanda's falafel, she totally nailed it and took home the win. Joe even went so far as to call it perfect, but then threw shade by questioning if perfection in falafel was enough to win immunity. Seriously, Joe. Amanda's dish was deceptively simple, but packed with complex flavors. Chef Ramsay even raved about it, calling it street food elevated to restaurant quality. Now that's some high praise.
This is how I want the brochettes, people!
I'm nervous about Lynn's leadership. She has a military.
Alright, now move on to one of the wildest moments from MasterChef Season 2, Canada Edition. The blue team, under the command of Line to the Culinary Commander Pelletier, was really having a tough time. And this wasn't just your usual kitchen drama, Line's military background was front and center. Buckle up, because the chaos that went down during this challenge was absolutely off the charts.
Okay, Jen, move it.
I'm going as fast as I possibly can.
This was a full-on kitchen showdown. So, was Line feeling the pressure, and how was the rest of the team holding up? Line was pushing everyone hard, and they were really giving it their all. But could they handle her intense leadership style along with the challenge? Well, let's find out.
In my head right now, use the mandolin! Use the mandolin!
Everybody by now should know how to use them.
Oh man, Line was all over Jen, insisting she use the mandolin. Using a mandolin isn't easy, it's tricky and can be pretty dangerous. Jen was giving it her best shot, but things weren't going smoothly.
Do you want to do it yourself?
Pardon me?
With Line barking orders like a drill sergeant, Jen might as well have been in a combat zone. But Line just couldn't be satisfied. Jen felt like everyone in the kitchen was watching her and she was on the verge of quitting. Well, at least taking off the apron. The tension was sky high, but that's when Jen was about to heat things up.
Do you want to do it yourself?
Pardon me?
Yeah, that's not looking good. Jen and Line were practically at each other's throats, and the judges were definitely taking note. So, the big question, were the judges gonna support Jen or stick with Line's tough approach and hope it paid off? Well, we'll have to wait and see. Did you catch that?
Honestly, I don't think it's a big deal. If she didn't know how to use it, she can cut it any way she wants. As long as you...
They dropped the truth bombs fast. Line was all over the place and struggling to get her act together. And let's just say, she wasn't exactly taking the advice well, her flavors were way off. But before we could even process that, a massive twist was coming up.
It has to be chalk. It doesn't go in the mirror pool. It actually...
I bet none of you saw that coming, did you? I sure didn't. That's gotta sting. And you won't believe what went down at the Peninsula Hotel in Beverly Hills in Season 8.
A restaurant that today is being taken over by all of you home cooks.
The contestants were pumped and ready to take over the kitchen, tasked with serving breakfast to hotel guests. Fingers crossed they could avoid the disaster I once had at a hotel breakfast with a massive glob of eggs. Kate and Yachicia got picked as captains for this challenge, thanks to their standout performance in the lamb cook-off. But would they bring the same energy this time? Kate wasn't too sure.
One person that you wouldn't want on your team.
Oh, I'm gonna go with Jeff.
She definitely didn't want Jeff on her team and made it clear why.
A very loud voice, but he doesn't take direction. Kind of just likes to be a little arrogant. A quality I don't need on my...
On the flip side, Yachicia was avoiding Jennifer, fearing she might crack under pressure and wasn't quite refined enough. Then came the twist.
Captains are not in control of which teams you get.
Yachicia was feeling like the underdog, but was confident she was used to working under pressure.
I know that we can work together and I can lead this team to victory.
As for Kate, we'd see how she'd handle it. When the chefs lined up with their captains, Aaron dropped the bomb.
Today you'll be cooking 5 stunning breakfasts
and all made to order.
The teams had to whip up 5 breakfast dishes, all made to order.
It could be anybody's game right now.
They had 60 minutes to prep, with a menu of lemon ricotta pancakes, eggs Benedict, potato waffles with lobster, a classic American breakfast, and a 3-egg omelet. Fancy, but pretty standard fare. Yakitia dove in, delegating tasks and keeping everything on track. Kate, on the other hand, wasn't managing her team as well, and Erin had some valid concerns.
On the potato waffle with the lobster, we have lemon ricotta pancakes. We'll get those done at the end.
Chef Ramsay was hopeful for the blue team.
Not look the most dynamic, but I think you've got the Scots and the blue this morning.
They had age and experience on their side, but organization was a big issue. With both teams facing off with their own struggles, it was anyone's game. Once the orders started coming in, Yachisia's blue team was cruising, while Kate's red team struggled to get it together.
We need, for here, we need the tomato, no, sorry.
The pressure was clearly getting to her. Things got so intense, Chef Ramsay had to step in to prevent a full-blown disaster.
The gas on! We're standing there cooking, there's not even a gas on!
At least they were making some progress. Meanwhile, Yachisia was on top of her game, making sure every dish was perfect and confident her team would crush it. On the red team's side, they had only served 1 table by a few minutes into service. Kate kept barking orders, but nothing seemed to work.
Knows where they're going.
Adam. Yes, chef. It's raw.
Adam sent
From raw lobster to terrible omelets, they messed up almost everything. The red team was falling apart, and Chef Ramsay's reputation was on the line.
Omelette side by side, untie your apron and give it now. Because this...
And Chef Ramsay told them straight up, they needed a new captain if they wanted a shot at redemption. And guess who stepped up?
Stay over there on waffles, Adam. We can use you on the grill. You can put a better pancake. Y'all go back on eggs Benedict, and we can and substitute.
With Ebony taking charge, the red team hoped the new leader would do better than the old one. Meanwhile, Yakichia's fears came true as Jennifer started cracking under the pressure.
Not perfect. Wow. These eggs are not done.
Chef Ramsay wasn't impressed.
Eat the American breakfast.
2 minutes.
2 minutes. Take that back.
Killed the
Take
whole
that back.
Yachisia had to shake her team up to avoid disaster.
Take that
back.
Ebony turned out to be a surprisingly good leader, and even Christina noticed.
Stop! Blue team, switch! Jennifer, back up,
Meanwhile, Chef Ramsay was tough on the blue team, with Jeff trying to lead but failing.
Food's looking great! Keep it up!
Thank you, chef!
Chef Ramsay was harsh on Jeff for the bad food.
Oh my God.
But Jeff didn't get it, so Chef Ramsay had to spell it out.
There! Send me your again, because I look bigger than you.
Chef Ramsay warned them they'd have to restart orders if they didn't speed up. It was clear. The red team was heading for disaster, and Jennifer wasn't happy with the 4th call for the same dish.
Look, a bigger dick than you.
Jennifer thought the team was doomed since she couldn't fix the eggs.
I'm pissed right now because she could took me off, but now she goes eggs she's not even able to make.
But Chef Ramsay kept pushing for the same dish, but maybe he shouldn't have.
Yet again, I got a full of...
Because this time, when the awful eggs came back again, Chef Ramsay had to shut the kitchen down.
Blue team, yet again, I got a plate full of...
Yachisia was disappointed despite a strong start.
1 and stop! This is over and I'm not serving that.
But in the end, the red team pulled off a wild comeback. But not everyone is. She could definitely cook, no doubt about it. And that's a wrap on the most cringeworthy MasterChef moments. So, can you think of more times when things got embarrassing on the show? Make sure to let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to drop a like, subscribe, and turn on my post notifications. And if you thought this video was crazy, then make sure to check out the next video right here. It's even better.